الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله قال الله تعالى في محكم كتابه العزيز وهو أصدق القائلين يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. Amma ba'd, dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ba'da salam, I would like to remind ourselves few things about fasting, about Saum. So our Islam, in the beginning of Islam or the early time of Muslims, what was fasting like before Ramadan became wajib? So the Saum or fasting went through different stages. And if I give few examples of those stages, our Islam, people only used to fast the 10th day of Muharram. The 10th day of Muharram, Yawm Ashura. And that is the day when Pharaoh or Fir'aun was punished and Musa was saved. So Yawm Ashura, the 10th day of Muharram. People used to fast only that day. Fasting was only for that day. And then also people also used to fast 3 days every month. That's also a stage. 3 days every month. It usually used to be the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th of every month. So the second stage was something called taghyir. The fasting became a choice or an option, which was you either fast or you feed people. So it became a choice. It wasn't must you to fast. You had another choice, another option, which was if you either fast or you feed people. The final stage was Ramadan became wajib. Fasting became wajib, so the different stages was, we said, people used to fast the 10th day of Muharram. That's the first month of Islamic calendar, Yawm Ashura. And then people used to fast 3 days every month. That is the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th. And then something taghyir became, which is a choice. You either fast or you feed people. So, and then Ramadan. Generally speaking, when you hear the word Saum or fasting, it is categorized into two. So you it's either wajib or it is sunnah. So I said Saum itself is categorized into two. It's either wajib, obligatory, you must, or it's a sunnah. Which is sunnah is, if you do it, you get a reward. If you don't do it, you are not punished or you are not held accountable for not doing it. But it is highly, highly recommended and encouraged to follow this, to do the sunnah. So the Saum wajib is also of three. Saum divided into two: wajib, sunnah, obligatory, not obligatory. So the Saum wajib is divided into three. Ramadan, which we are in now, the month of Ramadan. So Saumun Nadr, Saumu nadr. That's like Saumu nadr is making fasting obligatory for oneself, for oneself. For example, you said, Ya Allah, if I apply this job, if I get this job, I will fast 3 days. If you give me this, if you give me this and this, I will fast 1 day or 2 days, whatever the nether is. So that fasting becomes wajib, obligatory upon you, because you make it to yourself. The other fasting which is wajib is kafara fasting. And one example is sexual relationship with one's spouse daytime when they are fasting. In the month of Ramadan, at daytime, sexual relations with one's spouse. So fasting will become wajib on those people. So I said, Saum is divided into two. It's either wajib or it is sunnah. Wajib is obligatory or it's not. So the wajib fasting are Ramadan, which is the holy month of Ramadan. Nadr, one is making the fasting obligatory oneself. Kafara, fasting sexual relations, for example, with one's spouse, so that such things become kafara fasting becomes wajib upon them. So the Saum, the other one is sunnah. We said sunnah, if you do it, good for you. If you don't do it, you're not held accountable or you're not punished for. And the sunnah Saum, sunnah fasting, they're money. And if I give you examples, is Yawm Ashura, the day Pharaoh was punished and Prophet Musa alayhi salam was saved. Yawm al-Arafat is also highly recommended, and it's Sunnah Mu'akkad. Mondays and Thursdays, fasting 3 days every month. Yawm al-Arafat, for example, the Prophet ﷺ said, if you fast Yawm al-Arafat, all your sins of your previous year will be forgiven. And Allah also will protect you that year. So it is good. Also, sunnah of any type of sunnah is always good for you, because it's a shield. It protects you. For example, we hear nowadays, it's a common thing. It's becoming, it's okay, it's sunnah. You don't have to. No, it is sunnah for purpose. It's not just like, it is optional. It is optional. Yes, it is sunnah. If you forget the sunnah at all, you don't do sunnah, you only do the wajib thing, then you're always going to struggle to fulfill the things that were obligatory to you. But if you do the sunnah, even if you can't do all this, if you do some of the sunnah, it protects you. It becomes a shell for your wajib, amal. Instead of going directly, it's a wall for you. So, dear brothers and sisters, let us not abandon the sunnah. And it is part of our deen. So, that is it. Now, let's go to Ramadan. Who is required? The conditions for fasting becoming wajib are: who is required to fast in the month of Ramadan? So, fasting becomes wajib if you are the first place, if you are a Muslim. Ramadan is wajib upon you if you are a Muslim. Who is out there? Non-Muslims. Why is it important? Because you have to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? In the first place. If you don't believe Allah, You are fasting, you are just, for what? For what? Who are you fasting for? So the second one is that the fasting becomes wajiba reaching the age of puberty. Who's been exempt there? Children. Although it is good for you, children listening out there, it's good to start practicing fasting. Allah will reward you if you do. But it's not wajib on you until you are at the age of puberty. The third one is ability to fast. If you are able to fast, fasting is also wajib. Ability to fast. The other one is muqim. Non-traveler is also exempt from there. Non-travelers. And muqim is non-travelers. So the travelers, people on journey, are not must to fast at that time during when they're traveling. Sound of mind. You have to sound of mind, sane. So people who have intellectual disabilities are exempt. So health is also another one. So those are the people that fasting is wajib upon them. So what are the essential elements of fasting in the month of Ramadan, or any fasting, for example? For your fasting to be valid, for your fasting to be accepted, there are two elements that are required of you. And the first one is intention, niyyah. Innamal a'mal bin niyyah. So you must have the intention to fast in the first place. The second is abstaining from act that nullifies the fast. There's two essential elements that will validate for your fasting to be accepted. The first one, you must come with niyyah, intention. The second one is you have to abstain from things that nullify the fast, your fasting. So, what are the actions that invalidate or nullify the fasting? I will mention a few, and the few that I'm going to mention is the few that all scholars have agreed upon. The list is longer, but I will only share with you the few that most scholars have agreed upon. And the first one that nullifies or invalidates your fasting is eating intentionally or drinking intentionally. So, if intentionally you eat at daytime when you're fasting, intentionally you drink because you felt some fasting or you felt some hungry, your fasting is nullified. You're not fasting any longer anymore. But if you drink or eat for forgetfulness, or you do by mistake, your fasting is not invalidated. You will still continue fasting. Look at the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's not going to invalidate your fasting just being forgetfulness, or just doing it by mistake, not knowing. So the other one is intentionally making yourself to vomit. For example, I'm not feeling well, I'm fasting, I put my finger on my mouth just to make myself throw up. That is, you are making intentionally. But me sitting here talking to yourself, if I throw up, it's not something that I caused. So my fasting will not be invalidated, will be valid. But if I want to bathroom and I'm like, let me make myself throw up or vomit, then I'm doing it intentionally. It's not allowed. So intentional sexual relations. So doing the act of sexual when you are fasting, that will also nullify or invalidate your fasting. I don't know when sexual or intentional doing. But if you're sleeping and you dream about having been in sexual doing, that is not an act because you are dreaming. It's not intentional. Correct. So the other one is ministerial period or childbirth bleeding. Those also will invalidate your fasting. Even if this woman gets a ministerial period, it's like late hours, or if the childbirth bleeding starts late hours, whatsoever it is. Those are the things, some of the things that invalidate your fasting. If I may add also, some other thing is insanity, or the person becomes unconscious. He doesn't know what day it is. He doesn't know what time it is. He was fasting, but he became unconscious, insane. So his fasting will be invalidated because he don't know even if he is fasting or not. Or sometimes unlawful intoxicants that will make you unconsciousness and that will stay you for long day, for the whole day, may invalidate your fasting. So also we don't want our fast to be just not eat or drink. There is a lot of things that we need to abstain from the month of Ramadan. Those things are things that were haram from us in the first place. Lying is one good example. Backbiting, quarreling. For example, if someone approaches you and insults you, what will you tell them? You tell them, Inni Saimun, I'm fasting. I can't quarrel with you. I can't argue with you today. I'm fasting. Inni Saim. So, fasting is not just like abstaining from eating and drinking. Fasting is abstaining from everything that Allah has prohibited from us abstaining from. And also not to do some unnecessary things. Dear brothers and sisters, as I said previously, this is the month of Ramadan. It comes once every year. We don't know if we are going to be fasting tomorrow, leave of next Ramadan. So we have to take advantage of this holy month. I just remembered one thing. When I was talking about nadr, Saum nadr, the fasting that you making fasting obligatory for oneself, yufuna bin nadr. Remember, yufuna bin nadr wa yakhafuna yawman kana sharruhu mustadira. They are those who fulfill their vows and fear a day whose evil will be widespread. Before I conclude my talk today, I would like to remind ourselves the few things that I already talked, which is, I said, wajib Saum is of three. It's either Ramadan, nadr, or kafara. Nadr is fasting that you make obligatory on yourself. Ramadan is Ramadan. Kafara is you, for example, it's like you having sexual relationship when you are fasting at daytime. Kafara fasting becomes wajib upon you, on you. And we said sunnah fasting there are many of them. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.